So,
Hi, Andy.
hi, Judy. Looks like we're all blue so far today.
Yeah, but at least we three are here at least. This is Sarah. Sarah, look at this. Look, this is my current pet. Look, see her? Big lab, old lab. She just, silly goose, went out in the yard and wouldn't come in. She has a pet door. I don't have anything exotic now, Andy, just the dog.
Oh, that's good. No ñeques, as they.
No, nyeke, no.
Yeah, I found out that's the way they pronounce them, because they begin with an N with a tilde. I mean,
Yeah, nyeke.
Yeah.
That's maguche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things, a lot of terms like gato solo, you know, nobody knows what you're talking about, except I was at a Canal Zone Society meeting in Gainesville, and there was a display there, and I forget exactly the occasion, but there were Colombian students there, and they had a display on, you know, the animals that went from North to South America when Central America came up. And so I pointed to a gato solo, Quadimundi, and I said, so what do you call those in Colombia? And he said, oh, gato solo. I went, yay!
Of course, Colombia and Panama are practically.
Yeah, it wasn't just us, you know.
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was interesting.
Okay.
This is
Photograph in back of me that shows the writing backwards.
no.
Read what it says in the picture in back of me.
It says pageant of the Pacific. What? No. Pageant of the. I can't make it. Of the Masters.
On the road, of the Masters on the road. Laguna Beach, California.
Question, is it spelled backwards or frontwards?
No. No, the writing is all. We can read it. It's not like a mirror image. No.
When I see it, it all looks backwards.
Oh, okay. Well,
I guess they straighten. I guess in transmission they straighten it out. That's interesting. Is that the way you see it, Judy?
I see it plain writing. I can read it. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there is an option in Zoom that you can reverse your image, but I don't know how to use that on my cell phone. So
I thought you were the expert in all this, Ruth Ann.
say I started a month before you guys did.
Okay. I can't believe my 7-year-old does it with his class. So, there's
All right.
somebody. Yeah.
Hey, Robin.
I don't see Robin yet.
Okay.
Here I am.
Can you all?
Hi, Robin.
How you doing, Jude?
How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you? You all?
I'm doing all right. Hanging in there.
Good.
As good as a 77-year-old woman can be, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I'm the youngest at 77 still. So.
I'm 77.
Oh, yeah,
When is
you did say 70.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What am I?
Well,
Yeah,
your birthday's after mine.
$77.
My birthday's October. When is yours?
January 43.
Oh, so you're
Oh,
young.
yeah,
You're a baby.
Yeah,
January what?
23rd, 23.
You're 23 days. You're 23 days younger than me. I was December 31, 42.
Wow. So I tell my kids it's as easy to remember as 1, 2, 3, 4. Just
Yeah,
saying. I'm trying to show you, and I guess I can't. I'm going to have to send you the picture. I opened up the newspaper this morning and I was reading, you know, I come to the obituaries and I glance at them because we've been living on the peninsula here since 85. And I worked several places. And I did a double take because there was a picture, I swear to God, of Ellen Clute.
Really?
You know, of course it wasn't Ellen, but I took a picture, which I was trying to show you, but it won't work. So I
Like
sent
she looked, like she used to look?
No, she looks like we have recently seen her. And so anyway, I sent it to Ellen. I said, doppelganger, there's somebody walking around that looks like us. And told her I did a double take. It was weird. It was really weird. But anyway, and then I was encouraging her to join today to prove that it was not she.
Oh, yeah.
But I did hear from Reba. I wrote Reba this morning, and she said she's hoping she can join us next week. She can't today because she's a gopher for her husband who's doing work. And they often they have a house in the woods, she said, in quotes, that gets no reception of any kind like that. But he's going to be out of town next week. And so she hopes she can join us. So that would be neat. Yeah.
Who is Reba?
Oh, yeah. You weren't. When did Reba move there? When she was a junior, Robin? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking she was a daughter of a preacher, right?
Church of the Nazarene.
Oh, okay.
They had a house. You remember right there along, because, when you're going into Cristobal from Margarita, coming by Mount Hope, you passed right next to the cemetery. There were a couple of private homes.
The train station? Yeah.
Right across from the train station. She lived in one of those homes.
Okay.
That was probably built by the church.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, it was Church of the Nazarene. I remember because I'd never heard of it. More and more different churches were coming in. In fact, for many years, I don't know if you two would remember, Ruth Ann probably wouldn't, but in Gatun, right across from the swimming pool, right at the intersection where you would go down the gravel road to the yacht club, and to the left, and to the right, there was a frame single-story building up on stilts, not like the other Canal Zone houses, but that had been built by the Baptist church. And there was a Baptist minister living there. And they were pretty antisocial, except when we were in elementary school, there was a girl whose name was, God, I want to say Reba, but it wasn't that. And she was a little wild. She was like the proverbial minister's daughter. And she and Mickey Cunningham were thick as thieves,
Not Cookson. Not a Cookson.
No. I know who you're thinking of. Yeah, I hadn't heard that name in any. I think they were Episcopal, weren't they? Cookson?
Yes, they were. They were Episcopal.
I was an acolyte.
Oh, okay.
I thought we had the Union Church and the Episcopal Church and the Catholic churches. I don't remember a lot of Protestant churches down there besides just the Union.
Oh, you know where Margarita Hospital was?
Yes.
I don't remember the hospital.
Well, where that
Behind
used
the gym,
to be,
right?
Big Baptist Church was built there.
When was that built? Because most of the Protestants went to Union churches.
That was built in the 50s. I know it was.
Yeah.
You don't remember where Margarita Hospital was?
No, I don't remember that. No.
You know where you would come up on the road coming from Cocosolo to Margarita, and if you took a left, you had the tennis courts there, and you went up a hill. If you took a left, you went to 6th Street. Well, if you kept right on going, that was Margarita Hospital, and a number of kids were born there. And then they tore that down at some point in the 50s. Do you remember that, Robin?
No, I don't exactly. I moved to Brazos, I guess, when I was a freshman. Well, I still should have known because I played Margarita a lot, even though I lived in Old Cristobal.
Yeah.
But anyway, not exactly, Andy. I'm sorry.
And do you all remember where the original Margarita Elementary School was? Right across from the gym?
Yeah, across the driveway, like.
Yeah, there was a circular driveway.
Right.
It was a 2-story. And then many years later, they put a swimming pool in behind that.
Right.
I was in college by that time. Ruth Ann doesn't remember any of this.
Yeah, poor Ruth Ann, right.
Well, I don't remember that either. I guess I remember most about New Cristobal. And even
Then it was
Gato.
like North Margarita Elementary and South Margarita. And that became, then eventually that was the school. Hi,
Yeah.
I
Jan.
remember the gym and the
Hey there.
clubhouse Margarita
Great
and
to
the
see
midnight
you.
movies, but I don't
Oh, yeah.
remember
Oh,
all the
yeah.
other stuff. Yeah.
We're tripping down memory lane of churches that were built and where they were built, and stuff like that, Jim.
I see, and we're holding off on our classmates who have passed away for now.
Yeah.
No,
Well, we
topic right
mentioned
now.
it.
We do be- Maybe
Say
you
that.
can't,
We can't hear you sitting way back there, Ruth Ann.
you can't? Okay,
Now I
Now I
can.
can.
okay. Guess we start with Robin since he suggested the topic. Why don't you start, Robin?
Oh, in reference to those that have passed?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Where'd you go,
Well,
Judy?
we had a lot of great classmates, of course, that are now gone. I'm thinking 18 or 19 have passed.
23,
Is it
20,
23?
You
23.
counted them? Yeah.
full third of our class.
Yeah.
So we have 37 left then. Wow.
Amazing.
Anyway, I thought it was in the 20s, but I said to myself, I can't be right, so I was. Anyway, well, everybody's gentleman was a guy named Bill Will.
Oh, yeah.
He was a real quiet guy.
He was a sweetheart.
He was really such a polite guy and never really lost his temper. A good sportsman and always had something kind to say. And even if he should have been upset about something, he tried very hard not to be upset. And I just think he was one of the finest and quietest guys, but a real friend. Even though we weren't close or anything like that, we played on the same little league team and were, of course, in the same class. But and he recently passed, as you all know, and he and his
Yeah.
wife were very, very given to children not of their own. So anyway, quite a guy, and I miss Bill. Not bumping into him at the reunions because he always had pertinent questions to ask and something very pertinent, So anyway, but anyway, he's one I'll remember for a long time.
I was looking in our freshman yearbook. I still have all four. And I basically started looking because of that teacher that Jim Will talked about that I have no memory of, and she's not in the book there.
What was
Miss
her name?
Chateau, is that who you're talking about? Miss Chateau?
Right. She's not in that book. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Anyway, she could have been there for junior high. I don't know. Anyway, I'm looking through our class pictures, and as a freshman, Bill Will was not there. And I thought, what? Maybe he was mislabeled because some people were. And I remembered that one year he went off to a seminary in the States. Do y'all remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I remember he was going to study at that young age. I guess that's de rigueur or something. And apparently it wasn't for him, and he came back.
Okay.
But there were a lot of Catholic boys, and I was with him from elementary school all the way up. And we got a lot of pressure from the priests to become priests and so on.
Of course.
And I remember myself saying, nothing doing, I like girls way too much. So that was not
Well, I thought Bill wanted to be a priest, even when I was still there in high school, I thought he wanted to be a priest.
That he did go off. I know very well he did, because
And he later went to Xavier University, a Catholic university in Cincinnati. And
okay.
Maybe he wasn't there for the photo because I thought he was still kept up with us in the
Well,
classes.
I know he went away.
Yeah.
At least for the better part of a year.
Yeah.
We'll have, if Jim's not
yeah,
joining
too bad we
today,
don't have to let us
Yeah.
know. But let me tell you an interesting thing for me that he married a girl from Cali, Colombia. And it turned out by coincidence that when I went to Bogota for the summer after college, I had a host family in Bogota, and that they had a big finca in Cali, and the woman that Bill married was a niece in that family.
Oh, funny.
So they're the very family that I stayed with and was dear to me in Colombia was related to Bill's wife.
Do you remember
well.
her name?
Uh,
Sorry, Andy.
Trying to remember, I'd have to think about it a little
Yeah,
bit.
I liked her very much. She was very nice. She was very genuine.
Mhm.
You know, really, really a nice gal.
Well, the family that the name was Uribe. Uribe.
Okay. He was right there. He was the president after so and so during the FARC war and what have you. Uribe came. He was the tough guy in that government that I think brought the FARC to their knees, more or less. Now, I don't know if that peace accord was signed during his administration or not, but you know, it's a wonderful thing. I guess that happened about 4 years ago or 5 years ago, maybe longer. But anyway, it's really good that happened because Colombia was very dangerous. Now, Americans go. Now it's a wonderful country and very.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot here in Panama now, and they are very educated. They're very honorable.
Yeah.
When I had a company in town, an ambulance company in the late 90s and the aughts, they always paid their bills. You didn't have to go after them for bad debt as you had to do Panamanians. So I have a lot of good to say about the Colombians, and it's the movies and what have you that have focused on the drug, you know, Escobar and all of that. And indeed, those were bad guys. But
well, there was a whole history there starting in 1948 of La Violencia, where the you know, the Republic parties, the conservative and the liberal parties were at each other's throats to the point that they would hire assassins to kill the other people in the other party. And that some of that spilled out into the countryside, and it predated the drug lords and all of that. But the La Violencia, and they finally, by the time I got there in '64, they had reached an agreement. They called it El Frente Nacional, where they had the liberal and the conservative parties, and they took turns being the ruling party. And so, and it was formalized so that it helped to calm things down quite a bit. But I remember one of the books I read was in Colombia at the time, which was the rage. It was Un Estado Fuerte o Caudillo. That they said that every Colombian is a political party in and of himself. And they thought they needed either a strong country or a strong man because they were so governable as a group. But a lot of what you say is so. They were really well-educated and elegant people.
Oh, and very, very honest. I mean, honorable people.
Yes.
They pay their debts.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, we got off track there a little bit.
Patty was Bill's wife's name. I just looked it up.
Patty, right?
Oh, yeah, Patty.
You are.
And you don't have her maiden name or anything, do you? Uribe
No.
Urdanola. See, the Doña Sofia in the family I stayed was Doña Sofia de Uribe Urdanola. So it could be she's an Urdanola or she could be an Uribe. I don't know which.
They adopted an Acuna Indian boy,
Who?
and I think he's the one that passed away a few years back.
Yes, he is. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that was tragic for them, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so who else? I have a picture of Girl State with Diana Reese. What?
I was going to say, I would like to say a few things about Bill Will.
Oh,
Just that he was just the sweetest, nicest guy, and I would have to say he was my best friend.
Really?
I could always talk to anything, and I often did when I was frustrated or worried over something. And I remember one evening after they had chosen, what do we call it? Well, Andy was best dressed and Jim was
Oh,
Mr. What is that?
Yeah,
The
he
Hall of
was
Fame.
Mr.
That was,
CHS.
Best in
okay.
class or best in class or something on certain things. I don't know.
Mr. CHS was Jim.
yeah.
but
Okay.
Bill
Bill
was
was
the friendly.
friendliest.
Yes.
He was friendliest.
Oh, okay.
Which
I didn't
and,
know that, but well, I should. I just forgot. That's all. But anyway.
gotta get your yearbook and look at it, Robin.
Okay,
Well,
I will.
in
I will.
an instance, we were riding in the car. I don't know. We were heading toward Gatun. I remember that. And I don't know why he told me this, but he says, well, you came in third for a lot of those things because I didn't get anything. And I thought, what a weird thing to tell me, And if, I think he was trying to see if I had hurt feelings and that I wasn't going to feel bad about that. And I thought I was just so grateful for everything that ever happened to me there because
You were homecoming queen. No,
No, I
not
wasn't.
homecoming queen. Jamboree queen.
which I think miffed a few of the local people, didn't like that at all. Those
Why?
were-
Why? Oh, because you were the new kid in town.
She was a come here.
It wasn't bad in the canal though, so that made me rather suspect. But back to Bill, I just love to go to the Will House. I don't know, everybody felt about him like I did, but he was just the sweetest guy, and he was I felt he was a brother to me. And I started going to the Catholic Church basically because of Bill, and then later converted to Catholicism. So, just love. Okay, go ahead.
Of
Did you
course,
just,
yeah.
did you go down there in the junior year then?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, well, that was like me coming to the States in the junior year. And there was one guy that lived down the street from us when we first moved to Leesburg. And he was so nice to me. It was never anything romantic, but he was just so nice. He just made me feel comfortable being in this strange place where I was going home every day and crying, but because I was there. But it's nice to have somebody like that just kind of helps you along when you're getting started in a new place. I was going to ask you how it felt when you went to the Canal Zone. Were you lost like I was going to the States?
reverse. I was lost in California with a school with 3,000 kids.
Oh, I bet you were, yeah.
Darian's on the phone, you guys. She can't get in. Okay.
Maurice says he can't make it. Maurice I just got a blip on my
Darian?
top here.
Boy, there's some interference on this line.
Well, it depends if you're using your laptop or your telephone. I'm using my phone.
Okay, you didn't get a notice from Ruth Ann? Oh, that's odd. I'll send it.
And Frank is there
Did
listening,
you
I guess.
include Ruth Ann? Ruth Ann, did you include Darian today?
I'm not sure because I just sent it to the class list. I forgot about that.
I think she's on it.
Okay, let me send it.
Did we get something today? I didn't get anything today.
Well, I sent an email to everyone, and I don't know, maybe,
Well, I have.
we're all going to eventually, but the number
She's not sure, but I will send it again. I just see an email here.
plug in.
Marion, and Marion has sent me an email. I just saw it saying she forgot the password.
Oh,
CHS
CHS,
5960.
Send her the password.
good.
Tell her.
CHS 5960.
No, that's Marion Smith. I'm talking to
Yeah.
Darian Dietz.
Oh,
And Marion too.
Password is the same, Andy.
Darian. All right.
You know what?
All right, I found her then. She sent it at
Now,
9:40.
how come Frank is just an icon, an avatar there, but no Frank? Is he listening?
Is Frank on?
Or his audio.
I see.
I think Frank just listens. He enjoys it though, from what I
Okay.
gather.
Good.
All right.
In any case, you know, we're eventually gonna get this.
And the password.
Always
All you're gonna do is click on her,
you
um,
could, the email that you got last
click connect, it says.
for the one
Which
this
you'll do. And then it's gonna ask you for a password, which it also says here, but that's CHS 5960, okay?
Caps.
But if we,
your phone when you're on the phone.
Matter, we could discover, you know, that later, but I just sent it to you again. So keep looking in your email for it, okay? Okay. That's it. Remember from before, but then when it asks for a password, it's CHS in caps 5960.
Okay, you guys, I'm trying to mute Andy so we don't hear her conversation.
Okay.
well,
Please,
if we don't get an email with that thing to click on, how do we get on? I mean, I guess somebody has to send us that email every week, or we have to save it.
Oh.
Listen,
yeah,
Judy,
here comes Darian.
you
Yes,
you use this
also on the Zoom meeting.
as you used last year or
Thank,
last week.
I wasn't there last.
Everything is this.
she needs to put it in the middle of it because she had it at the end and I think she just forgot to add it on.
Anyway, you're going to have to stumble through on your. I've explained this so many times that we're wasting our valuable get-together time. So where were we? We were talking about Jim Will. Robin, Jim, who do you want to talk about?
Who, me? Boy, it's hard because I can just see a lot of ones I was, you know, Pete Ender, he never came back to any reunions, and I always yearned to meet him again after high school. And I remember him, you know, on our Little League team, and he hit 6 home runs, and he was the Babe Ruth of the team and the league. And I loved him, and just always regretted that he never came back to any reunions, and then he died last year. And Jim, we were talking about Bill quite a bit before.
Yeah.
We were talking about him first, and we didn't know. We were having a question about whether he left for part of our freshman year of high school to a seminary for a part of the year.
Well, he was gone the freshman year.
Hi, Andy.
Freshman year, the whole year.
Yeah. And then
Yeah, and got quite a memory.
I don't know how to.
Yeah, Andy's back now, I think, but yeah, Andy was remembering that he was gone that freshman year.
yeah, I think he probably he might have gone back for a little bit longer.
There
But
it is.
I think he got a
Okay,
little bit of pressure from my mother.
Oh, I thought it was the priest that emphasized that we should all be, all the altar boys should be priests.
Yeah. Well, I remember at one time there were about 10 of us that were.
Right. Now Andy is talking, but no, where she's muted. Who?
I don't know, you guys.
You got us all muted?
No, Andy is the only one that's muted, and
Well, now she's back.
I actually did turn her off when she was having her long phone conversation, but now I don't know how to turn her back on. So
She can
Okay,
hear
while
you.
you're doing that, Jim, did you know Patty, Bill's wife, was her last name Uribe or Urdanola?
I unmuted it.
Uribe?
Yeah.
Uribe.
Uribe.
Okay, and that was the same, related to the same family I lived with during the summer after college in Bogota. They were my host family.
Yeah.
And they had a big finca near Cali.
Well, that was, yeah. And that was, they had the big finca. They, they used to live out in the finca a lot more, but both the father and the son were kidnapped.
Is that right? Oh, later.
Yeah, and they were kidnapped, but they paid the ransom and were released. So they didn't,
Wow.
they decided after that not to go back to the finca very much.
Jim,
What
when
is the-
did Bill go to that seminary? Was it like our freshman year, and for how long?
He was there the full year.
Okay. See, I was looking in the yearbook and I saw that his picture was not there, and I went, oh, maybe that's the year he went. So you've just confirmed that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. We were talking about that earlier.
Jim, do you have any memories you'd like to share with us of Bill?
Well,
In school?
Bill and I were when we were growing up, we were extremely close. We played all the sports together. When in high school, remember every time I ran for an office in high school, I was running against Bill, and a lot of times he didn't win, and I can remember my mother one time taking me aside and saying, Jim, you've got to let him win every once in a while. And I said, hey, that's not in me. But once we got out of school, I mean, I used to go, when I was in college, I used to go up to Xavier where he was going to school and saw him. It was hard to see him because he was in the Xavier Glee Club and they were out on the road every weekend. So
Where was Xavier?
it's in Cincinnati.
Okay.
It's a Jesuit school, very, very,
Yeah.
very good Jesuit school.
Yeah.
But then, then of course the military came after school. Then of course I was out of the country in Brazil, and he was. It was funny because when he got out of the Marine Corps, he went to work for, God, it was some small company, well, a big company actually in Southern California. Yeah. And they put him into a management training program. Well, he just didn't see himself as a management trainee. And so one day, and he was living with my brother Gary. He was down in Orange County. And one day I called and Gary answered and I said, is Bill there? And he says, no, he left. He went back to Panama. And that's when he went back as a school teacher. And then, of course, after that, we didn't see each other a whole lot until he retired and I retired up here. And then he'd come out, play golf with us every once in a while. But his whole life, particularly near the end, was all his religion. I mean, it was it drove him 7 days a week. So I didn't see him a whole lot.
What did he teach, Jim?
Spanish and let me see, Spanish. I think Spanish and history. I think I know he had 3 different degrees.
Oh.
Because remember when you were a school teacher down in Panama, every summer they would pay for you to go back to the States to take classes. So most every year he went back to Xavier and took classes, and then when he was at the University of Florida, he did the same thing, and he was working on his doctorate degree in theology, but he never got to the point where he was going to write thesis. So, and then of course then he spent with Patty's family being in Colombia. After that, most every summer they went and spent in Colombia. So really we just had and then when we got together here in Florida, I mean, it was kind of, if we played golf and we went back to the bar, sat down and had a conversation, after about 15 minutes, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about because he wanted to talk about religion and I wanted to talk about something else. So, I mean, we just, but I enjoyed playing golf with him. I mean, that was always very competitive. So particularly when you throw Robert in the middle of it too, my other brother. So
You know, he came up to visit us in Madison one time, and his little girl came with him. And whatever became of her, I wonder.
Well, Christine is
Yeah.
married. She's married to a Brazilian. They did spend some time in Natal in Brazil actually, they were back there for about 5 years. He is now a lawyer and works in the Social Security Administration in here in Florida. She has homeschooled her 3 kids, her 3 daughters, all the way through, and they're all honor roll. I mean, and 2 of them are in college now. One's going to go into accounting, and the other hasn't made up her mind, and the third one's still, I think, a freshman in high school. So, yeah, the kids are extremely sharp. So, a lot like their mother, Christine. Christine is brilliant. So,
Great. Yeah, wonderful. Wonderful.
so I see them more now because I mean, with Christine is, with Bill gone, I'm the elder in the whole family, and so kind of taking on kind of Christine's. She calls me a lot just to bounce the things off of me that she would have bounced off her dad, which is great. I mean, I'm more than glad to do it. So, but she's I don't know what she's going to do once the girls finish up their homeschooling. So,
Yeah.
maybe she'll go back to school again. I mean, she's already got a master's degree, so she's never used it.
Well, the PhD takes twice as long.
Pardon?
The PhD takes twice as long as the master,
Yeah.
or even longer if you can't get the words to come out.
Yeah.
True.
I started talking about Diana Ray Smith. And I guess you remember Diana Ray, Judy, right?
Yes, I do.
And Darian, you remember her?
Yes.
Well, I have a crazy picture of her at Girl State, where we all turned into clowns. God. And she's sitting on one of the beds. She's got about 3 cigarettes in her mouth, with her eyes crossed, playing a ukulele. I think that's Diana Ray. She was funny. Back when everybody smoked.
I never did.
Oh,
Never?
I never did.
Never did? Really? I started
Read
to talk
between the
about-
lines, Jim.
And to have ciggies or in the car or something to have a cigarette. Nope.
Young and dumb, right?
Well, see, the problem with, I think so many of the kids, like my dad was what you'd call a social smoker. The only time he would ever smoke is if he was having a drink or if he went to the Elks Club. But most times a pack of cigarettes would sit in his closet and just go stale. So it wasn't like I could go in and steal a cigarette because he'd know it was gone if I did.
Oh,
So it was
my.
easier just not to smoke.
Oh, God, I remember one time I was walking down the hall and God, what was the book I was reading? Some paperback that had, God, I keep getting, excuse me. God, Forever Amber. That was the name of the book. And it
I
was a little,
remember.
That was
Do-
popular. then.
anybody remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And Mr. Fatarosi saw me reading that. I was walking down the hall, and I remember, and this is senior year, and he stopped me and he says, "Does your mother know you're reading that book?" I said, "Yes." I mean, and that is so tame now, I'm sure. Unbelievable. Sort of like Peyton Place now. I mean, my God. Remember that story, Peyton Place, and then it came out in the movie, and then it was a series.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then there was the Lady Chatterley's Lover.
Oh yeah, well, that was a whole other.
And
That's a whole
remember
other
Battle-
genre.
That'll cry. We would just read all the juicy parts.
Right.
That's what everybody did. Flip, flip, flip. Oh.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, God. Those were the days. Who else? Bob Irwin passed away. He was I think he got into drugs, didn't he? From what
No,
I heard.
he was heavy in alcohol.
Oh,
How old was he when he passed away?
Well, it was
I don't know.
43 years after we graduated, he passed away.
So he was about 61, 60.
yeah.
Well, I think I remember the 25th reunion. Bob Irwin was there.
Yeah.
And he left. They said, well, why did he leave early? And they said he just couldn't, he was overcome with emotion, so he couldn't stay. And I thought, how sad. I don't remember Bob much in school, but I do remember him at that reunion. Everyone was so happy, and he was just overjoyed to see everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike McBride came by and saw us here in Williamsburg years ago. He was here on business, staying at a motel not far away, and we got together. And I remember the first time I saw Mike, his voice, as you know, and then he arranged that reunion at the cafeteria he was managing. Remember that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his voice was like, holy God, is that Mike McBride? Because he was a radio announcer. I mean, he just had this wonderful voice. But one of my memories of Mike in those days, I didn't like Mike. and he didn't like me either. At some point, we got into it on a school bus coming home. And we just come into Gatun, and we were at that first right turn right below the elementary school. And he threw my books out the window. Books on remember how we used to carry the notebooks around with our books piled neatly on them, in this certain particular way? Out the window. And what a jerk. I never forgot it.
Did the bus driver
Well,
stop?
I envied him because I think he used the connection to Jim's dad as harbor master to get on a freighter after our junior year that summer, and he came back late for senior year. He was on a tramp steamer and went all over the world and had his first sexual experiences in Singapore under the tutelage of
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he had a career with the Merchant Marine.
He did.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and I think it was that connection that brought him to Williamsburg. It was some sort of, how you have to keep your credentials current. So he was going to some course. Now that I think about it, yeah.
Well, he came to visit me at Notre Dame when I was an undergrad there, and his comment was, "This is an awfully Spartan place." It was very Spartan. Of course, there were no women; it was all men, and we lived simply. So.
Yeah, I bet simply. I can imagine what those dorm rooms looked like. God.
Yeah, 3 in a room, probably.
And can you imagine now, male and females in the same dorms? It's like an alternate universe.
Same rooms.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. God,
No, at
Well-
Brown, that's what it was a few years ago.
Jesus. And we had to sign in and out.
Absolutely.
They had those little boxes right when you came in the dorm. Oh, there's Marion. Yay.
She's
And
here.
then we,
Finally got on.
Oh, there
and
you
then
are.
we,
Good.
I've tried 700 passwords.
Oh, no.
well, write it down and.
I do.
on a sticky
CHS,
note.
It's CHS, not BHS.
CHS.
Yeah. 5960.
I tried that. I tried 1959-60. I tried I will. 175928, which I
God.
found in an email was a password. And
Okay,
I've been going an hour on this.
well, I hope you got the email today, but in any case, I'd like
No,
to
I did not.
Mel Fields,
No.
because I
Yeah. That was a shock to lose him.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Mel Field.
Did not get that email.
We didn't
Well-
get that email either.
well, I'm glad you're here now. So we'll constantly work on improving our communication. But let's talk about Mel Fields now, because I thought he was just absolutely the best dancer I'd ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah, he was a great dancer.
Wow. He was a great fisherman too.
Everybody was a great fisherman.
But he had a business down in Florida. He was a captain, a very, very well-known captain. In fact, a friend of mine lives down in Naples, and we were out, and we always, whenever I go down and see him, we hire a guide to take us out fishing, and every one of those guys knew Mel
Wow.
from his background, and you know, people always said if you wanted a good guide, that's who you went to, was Mel.
Yeah, boy.
But you know, he knew early on that he was having problems with his lungs. So
Is that right?
yeah. I talked to him at one of the reunions, and he said, you know, he said, I just I sit here and hope that I'm going to outlive you know, another couple of years. But he says, he said, I just feel it in my chest. So
Why is that? From smoking or what?
yeah, from smoking. He was a heavy smoker. So
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I still miss Marion Leach. She died recently, but
Yeah.
she suffered for a long time with Parkinson's.
yeah.
We went,
Yes.
yeah, we
I'm so
had,
glad I had a nice talk with her at the last reunion.
yeah.
She was a sweetheart.
Oh, she really was, and we were really good friends in Cristobal, and then even when she moved to Margarita, I used to go over and spend the night with her there. We just had so much fun. But Arthur and I went down and visited her in Leesburg and saw her, and she was in a terrible shape even then, several years ago. So it was real sad. And you know, Jack Sanders never ever got over her. He was in love with her. Even a couple years ago, Jack started communicating with me, and I emailed him quite a bit for a while, and I guess it just stopped. But he still was in love with Marion.
Oh, yeah. We saw Jack in Hawaii a few years back.
Uh-huh.
And I totally agree. I was going to bring it up, but now you have. I was and I wasn't, but now you have. Oh, he was. That was a huge regret of his. Yeah.
Yeah. Now he lived in California, but I haven't heard from him in I guess over a year. Is he still?
He moved to Truckee because his daughter had a place there, and
Yeah, I
he was
knew
going to work on that. But I haven't heard from him in ages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I hope he had another damn motorcycle accident after he got back. I mean,
Oh, I
God.
know. And wasn't his brother injured severely or killed on one or something?
Decapitated.
What?
His brother was decapitated up in the
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah.
beach on the Pacific side.
Wow.
Gee.
Well, his face was very badly damaged in an accident that he had when we saw him in Hawaii. That was, God, when was that?
Well, he was at a reunion that we went to too, or that I
Yeah.
went to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think only one. Only one reunion, but I remember we had moved to Leesburg, and Jack and Dean and a whole bunch of guys on motorcycles came zooming down the little street where we lived, and I wondered later what our neighbors must have thought about those motorcycle juvenile delinquents coming down the street to visit me in Leesburg that year. It was really funny.
And they thought you were probably a
A mall.
one.
A mall.
Yeah, they may have thought that. It was funny. But I miss Dean too, miss knowing about Dean Campbell too.
He never came to a reunion that I recall.
No, he didn't. He came to visit us once in Leesburg. I mean, in Tallahassee though. We did
Okay.
see him. But yeah. Yeah, it's sad to lose the ones that we cared about.
By the way,
Yeah.
that was a very cute picture that you posted. Was it you, Judy, or Frank, that posted of you and Frank McLeod on a date? That was cute.
Oh, did he post that?
Yeah, he did.
I found an old box full of my mother's papers and stuff, letters and things, that even letters she had written to her mother, who was blind, and her mother would write back to her, but she had to fold the paper, my grandmother did, to make a crease so she could feel to write to my mother when we were in Panama. But anyway, I was going
Wow.
through those old papers, and that picture of Frank and me was in there. So I sent it to Frank. I didn't know he had posted it. I didn't see
You
that.
did. Did
Yeah.
you get the picture I posted of Gatun train station?
I don't know. When was it recent? I think you did a while ago, didn't you?
Yeah, it was about maybe a week or so ago. I happened to run across it and I sent it to you. Anyway.
I don't know. I just know that I remember that house that over where we lived over the train station there. That was interesting.
Right.
And I was 4 when we lived there, and I can still remember things about that house. It had
Who else remembers the old Gatun train station, that big stone
Oh, yeah.
building?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really a nice house though, but the bathroom had a chain to pull the toilet to flush it.
Yeah.
And we had one of those telephones that stands up, old-fashioned phones.
Oh,
I can
yeah.
remember that too. Yeah.
Yeah, we had that. What were
You know, I
saying?
remember,
Your thing?
I was going to say Felix Karpinski was a real shock. He was the third one of our classmates who died
Yeah.
after graduation, and that was 30 years after graduation, 1990.
My
And I
goodness.
just remember that he was he was scuba diving off the southern coast of Texas in the
Right.
what do you call it, the Gulf of Mexico, and got swept away. And
Oh,
so,
my.
big
Yeah.
loss.
Yeah, that was, yeah. They probably
And
never recovered his body.
Yeah, thinking about ones that have died. Hugo died too, and I heard
Yeah.
from him in later years. I think he had heard that his mother had died, and I sent him a note, and he sent me a thank you note for remembering his mother who had died, and it was sweet. But we saw him at one of the reunions. He had lupus, if you all remember.
No.
I'd forgotten what he had.
Yeah, he had lupus.
Yeah,
But
fingers were all
he had changed so much. It was so sad. You would never have recognized him
I
otherwise.
still see him the way he was when he would win the 440 yard dashes, and what a wonderful
Yeah.
long-legged athlete he was with his big hair.
I remember very well playing with him as a young girl. I remember his nice long hair. I remember pulling his hair, and it was slippery with the hair tonic that he had.
Yeah, right.
I remember he would come over, and he would come, and we'd sit in the dining room, and my mother would fix waffles for us, I think. And I had this hair dryer. It blew cold, put it on the table. It would blow cold air on us. But we would play hide and seek under the house where we lived. And my mother was there. My mother was playing with us, and I hid, and Hugo and my mother couldn't find us anywhere. And my cat showed them where I was. It was really funny. But he used to come over when I was in, I guess, 4th or 5th grade, and bring comic books, and we would sit in the hall of the house where we lived and trade comics. So those were the days.
Yeah.
Let's talk,
Trading comments was a big pastime.
does anybody want to talk a little bit about Donnie Bruce?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear about him dying. Yeah.
Yeah, he's hung on a long time there, didn't he?
He did.
We thought he kept coming back. It's like he revived and looked like he was going to go on forever.
What was wrong with him?
Well, he had 2 problems. Because at one point when he got very, very overweight, he went and had one of those stomach.
Oh, yeah.
Bypass, gastric bypass.
Yeah, and after that, he was never right.
Hmm.
And then, of course, he was living in, he had two condos. He had one in Guam and one in Manila. And, the only time he would ever come back to the States was because he had a house here in Florida, but the only time he would ever come back is go to the hospital up in Minnesota
Oh, how sad.
at the Mayo Clinic. And then he started having heart issues. I used to get, I sent him I said, get on your telephone, your mobile, and download a world clock, because I'd get calls from him at 2:00 in the morning,
Oh,
or 7:00 in the morning. He never knew what time it was. And-
Right, and he always was the farthest one coming back to the reunions from the
Right.
farthest away. And he drove those heavy equipments, you know, where he went seasonally, I guess. And he went to Kings Point, and I guess he dropped out or flunked out, and he never finished a college degree. And I said, boy, you've got guts to go out into the world without any fig leaves, not even a fig leaf at all, but he made his way.
Well, he worked for the federal government in contracting.
Yeah.
And apparently he was very, very well known in that area. I mean, so once he retired from the military, I mean, from the government, then he started his own consulting company. And that's how he got to Guam. He was over there working for two of the big utilities as a consultant and helping them with their contracting. And, you know, and then he of course, and then the first time he wanted to come back to the States, he had just gone through a divorce. He was married to a girl from Thailand, and he'd gone through a divorce. So he came back to the States, went back to Thailand, found another girl,
Yeah.
married her, brought her back to California. They lived up in Lampock. And 6 months after she got her papers, she said goodbye. And so he said, screw this, I'm moving back to Thailand, and I'm finding a girl, but I'm never coming back. And so then he ended up with a girl from the Philippines. And so,
Well, those Philippine girls take good care of their husbands. My oldest son is married to a Philippine girl.
oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh, she's perfect for him. She really is. He's a doctor in the military, but he was always she just takes care of everything for him. He doesn't have to do anything much, you know. She has it made because he's got this good position and a lot of money, I guess, that he makes and everything. But she does take such good care of him, which he needs in a natural.
I remember calling Donnie when he was in the hospital, and I was so glad I did, you know, because he didn't survive much longer than that, unfortunately. And I remember emailing you, Jim, and saying, Donnie just never seemed happy. And of course, he had his first marriage was to an American woman, and God knows what happened there. And apparently had two sons. I knew that one of those sons met up with a train, and somehow I found that on the internet. And it was right practically outside of Kingsmill here, because he was working as a chef or something like that in Williamsburg, and he was driving down a road, and there's a railroad track that goes into the brewery here, Budweiser Brewery, that rarely has trains on it. And the only thing I can figure is there was a train and he didn't expect it or something, and he was going fast. Maybe it had some alcohol. If it's where I think it is, according to the description in this article I read. So that was tough, but I was glad to hear he had another son, apparently by that first marriage. But I think his second Thai wife, and we all got together at Joni's when she lived in Maryland, his second Thai wife had a son of her own. And Donnie was very good to him, I believe. So I don't know if that was the son that came to see him or if he had another son. But anyway, he just never seemed happy wherever he went. He was always seemed to be complaining, you know.
I think a lot of that was because of his health. I mean,
Yeah,
he felt very restricted because of his health.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, you know, and then the final surgery he had. I mean, I talked to him when he was leaving the Philippines, and he said that, you know, he said the doctor told him, he said, if you don't have the surgery, best case is 3 months. If you have the surgery, you know, you might survive another couple of years. And but he said it's 50-50 because the rest of his body was already starting to shut down. So he said, you know, I'm going to take the risk, and that's what he did.
Yeah. So he wasn't unhappy enough to say, the hell with it, I'm out of here. He was still fighting. which
Yeah.
is good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And of course, Doris Payne.
Payne, George Payne. Right.
Oh, yeah, that was right after we left that she,
That was right after, well, that was right after we graduated, not
Didn't
right
she-
after you left.
she killed herself, didn't she? Drove off
No, she married a sailor. Correct me if I'm wrong. She married a sailor, and I think she was expecting a baby, and he
Oh, my.
drove off of one of those Cocosolo piers.
Right.
Oh, she
got out.
was driving. I thought
Oh.
she drove off. He was
Are you talking about Doris Payne or who?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
That's what I heard. I heard that he drove off and he got out, accident, drunk, suicide, murder. I don't know why she would commit suicide at that age, is when you're expecting a baby. But
Oh, she was
Yeah.
pregnant too. I didn't know that.
and that was the year we graduated. She got-
exactly
yeah,
that
terrible.
same year.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember hearing it not too long after we were in the States.
right. That was very sad. You never know.
Yeah.
Where's Joni today?
Where's who?
Where,
Joan Page, where is she today?
Haven't heard anything.
Joni, right?
Yeah, I wondered where she is today. Wasn't she here the other time I was here? She was here.
Yeah.
And Emily's not here today.
Yeah, Emily's not here either. We're having like a nor'easter here.
Well,
And
it's-
Well,
Hey,
you,
Nor-
listen, I'm in the Northeast and you can have all the Northeast.
yeah, yeah, that's when the wind is blowing hard from the northeast.
well, we're having a tropical storm like Panama and Tallahassee today, only it's not as
Well-
much fun here.
Well, the tropical storm was Arthur, named after your husband,
Right.
and that has gone off into the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Ed was on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. He's home now. And that was a rainy day and all. But now we got this, I don't know, they say it's a front coming in from the west, but the wind's blowing from the northeast, so somebody else described it as a nor'easter. Anyway, it's not like
I
May.
don't remember being scared about the weather in Panama, but you know, when I remember when we were when I enjoyed the thunderstorms down there, except when we were out on the boat on the Chagres River, and that was scary. But for the most part, when we were home, I kind of liked the storms, listening to the thunder and then splashing out in the puddles afterwards, barefooted in the gutters and things like that. But up here, it's really scary. We don't have tornadoes and things in Panama like they had here. We had earthquakes, but we didn't have tornadoes when we were there. And I remember,
Do you mean hurricanes, I assume?
I mean, well, we didn't have hurricanes, I don't think, or tornadoes down there.
What's happening weather-wise there? Are you getting hurricane type weather,
Well,
Robin?
it's
Oh, down
stormy
here?
here.
No, not at all. We sometimes get very high winds. But you know, we're tucked in behind first Venezuela and down the coast of Colombia to the Darien province. The Darien
Right.
province. But
Right.
we're tucked in very nicely. Costa Rica gets maybe mini hurricanes, but Nicaragua, as you all know, had a real bad one. I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe 30. No, the one that I think, maybe it was a storm that Roberto Clemente, the right fielder for the Pirates, he had a plane crash in Nicaragua trying to deliver goods and food from Puerto Rico to
I
fly.
thought that was Dominican Republic. Where was he from?
He
was
was
going back-
Puerto Rican. I think he was Puerto Rican.
Okay, well, you're right. I remember he was killed, yeah. in a
Yeah,
plane
he was
crash.
killed. So we're lucky here, but we get little tremors of earthquakes,
Yeah,
especially up in Boquete.
Oh,
But all in all, we're lucky weather-wise. No tornadoes, no hurricanes, just high winds time and heavy rains. You know,
yeah.
and if you live in the former canal zone, everything drains pretty well, so we don't get flooded streets here in the former canal zone. So Panama City gets them. In fact, Trump Tower, you know, he came down to inaugurate his not to deride him or anything, it wasn't his fault, But we had such a rain the day that he was going to inaugurate that Trump Ocean Club over there in Punta Pacifica. He couldn't wait. He was cursing his chauffeur and everything. The water was 3 feet high and getting out to the airport. He aborted the whole thing. And his daughter was here, and also his eldest son, Don Jr. So not Don, but anyway. But we get heavy rains is all, and the drains in Panama City are just almost as bad as Colan. Colan is terrible.
Yeah.
But now,
You know,
don't the Panamanians argue that they may have the best drinking water in Latin America, thanks to the American engineers that built that?
Oh yeah, no, everything in the former canal zone works very well. They have maintained everything that the Americans left them very, very well. We're really lucky. So Panama City and the drainage there is awful, as well as in poor Colan. You know, you may have seen some clips of them and going in canoes down Bolivar Street, and they were giving people rides 3 blocks up and charging a quarter. You know, I mean, because the people couldn't make it. You know, but really, it was unbelievable. But anyway, and now we're heading into the dry season. Now we've had a few heavy rains over the last couple of weeks, so we'll see what happens this year.
Aren't you with the dry season?
This is my, I have to introduce, this is my little buddy.
I like you a lot. Yeah.
Does not like to be picked up. I had to cut in because she was about to gouge my thighs. Does not like that. But she is with me wherever I am in the house. You know, she's like my shadow. That's Callie.
I miss my cat. I don't have a cat anymore. I just have my dog, and she's sweet and I love her, but I do miss having a cat. But anyway. Well, anyway, back to the tornadoes and the storms. I remember Spike and Arthur and all of us were talking one time, and his wife and was there, and I said something about, well, I really enjoy listening to the storms because I kind of liked it. Reminded me of Panama, the thunderstorms and things like that. And she says, well, you've never lived through a tornado then. And she was right. I hadn't.
Yeah.
Didn't know the danger.
I think those are, I've never lived through one, but I think they're very scary.
Oh,
Yeah.
And they strike when you least expect it sometimes. They're so
absolutely.
fast.
Yeah.
At least a hurricane, you know when it's coming.
Yeah,
Right.
you can prepare for them.
And tornadoes, I mean, just out of the damn blue. The only time we ever lived anywhere where you had them was at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. And we lived in quarters that had a basement, fortunately. And I remember there was a warning one time, but it didn't really hit. So we never had the experience of going through that, but we were glad we had a basement at least, you know.
You know, no matter where you go, you're going to have a problem. I remember when I was in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, and I was calling on the CFO of the company there. And after we came back from lunch, we were in his office, and he says, "I don't see how you can live in California. You have storms, you have mudslides, you have fires, and then all of a sudden the siren went off, and he says, 'Oh, come on, let's go to the cellar. We got tornado warnings.'" I said, "See, no matter where you're at, you got something."
Yeah.
You know, Ellen Clute,
Dorothy from Kansas.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, really?
Ellen Clute in Santa Rosa, you know, her area where she lives barely escaped those terrible fires a couple of years ago. I called her and she said, "No, we're okay, but you know, it's like a few, you know, like a half a mile away. They had to evacuate and some houses burned and all." It's like, oh God, you know, see your life go up in smoke. It's hard to imagine, you know.
Yeah,
Of
it is. Yeah.
Terrible. I think we're kind of in a sweet spot where we are here.
Yeah, but is this the same storm that just went through Michigan last night?
Yeah, it's probably the same front. You know, we're a lot further south than that,
but
but yeah.
they had two of the dams they think may be broached in Midland, which is where what's the big Occidental? No, not Occidental. What's the big Michigan company?
3M? No, that's,
I'll remember it, but they're right down on the river, and that's the biggest plant in Michigan. And they're terrified that if the dam breaches, that whole factory is going to be underground, so underwater.
Well, we haven't really had that much rain here, but I think west of us they have, because I saw in the paper today, we have a ferry across the James River here from Williamsburg over to Surrey County, free. And it's a terrific little ferry. You go by Jamestown and all of that. And I read an article today where the ferry service was disrupted a little because of the high, and of course the James where we are now is tidal still. And they said because of the level of the river, that when they put the gangway down for the cars to go by, it's not even or something like that. So, and I don't recall ever seeing that. So that would seeing any warning like that before, but that would mean they would have had a ton of rain up in the mountains, on this side of the watershed where the water's coming down from all those tributaries to the James. So I haven't gone down to the James. You could actually walk to it from where I live here, but maybe we'll drive down and see if it's higher than it usually is. So.
On a totally different subject, has anybody seen Jenny Roscoe or know anything about her?
Jenny?
Yeah.
Jenny,
Yeah, no, I haven't for a long time.
She lives up in right outside of Boston.
yeah, she lives not too far from me, but
Yeah. I think she's got 4 children.
I have seen her post or respond on Facebook a couple of times. Her last name is M-I-C-I. I don't know if it's Misi or Michi. So
You won't see a picture of her because her brother. I said, when we played golf together up in the Panhandle, and I said, well, get her to send me a picture. She says she will not send you a picture. She will not put a picture on Facebook. She's had two knee replacements. And
To what?
knee replacements.
Oh,
Knee replacement.
Your face.
So, but that's all I've heard. I mean, and I've been emailing her or messaging her, just trying to get her to come to the reunion, and she just keeps on saying no.
yeah, Ruby Hall is quit coming too, and she's up in that area also.
but her sister Barbara, I've seen her at the reunions.
Barbara is like just the opposite. She's Miss Popular, and she writes the articles in the Review and all of that.
When Ruby came, the only time I remember seeing her, she was still in love with, was it Howdy Bailey that she was so in love with?
With Howdy Bailey?
I think that was who it was. Do you remember who she was in love with? But she said that he still had a picture of her on the mantle of his house and he was married. But I can't remember if it was him or somebody else.
Howdy Bailey
Harry.
lives,
Oh.
if he's still living, I'm not sure, lives in Norfolk, Virginia. And he owned a ship building or repair thing, because when we used to have a sailboat, and Ed did some business with him. And he also built an all aluminum, Ed remembers the details. And his wife was a stewardess, I remember that. And an all aluminum boat that was in like the Whitbread races, those round the world races, you've heard of those?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and it was a big article in the paper about his company building that. And on another tangent, who remembers Mike Dare?
Oh, I
Yeah, I
remember. Yeah.
Motorcycle.
Okay. So Mike Dare was from Gatun. He was a year ahead of us. And I don't think Mike ever graduated. His mother was the loveliest person. She died of breast cancer back when you didn't talk about it. You know what I mean? Like Terry Webster's mother, unfortunately. And he and Howdy were big buddies. And also he was a good friend of Mike, God, what was his name? I can't think of it.
Motorcycles too?
Yeah,
Motorcycle.
Mike Bryans.
Oh, I thought you
Right,
meant
right.
How do
LaCroix.
I remember these names? But anyway,
Good for you.
anyway, Howdy said that Mike was moving sailboats from Florida up to the Northeast and from Northeast back to Florida when people, you know, very wealthy people needed somebody to sail a boat down there, that kind of thing. I think he was mixed up in drugs also. But so one day, this is many years ago, when Ed and I were living at Fort Monroe, which we did from 85 to 91, we were in the Old Point Comfort boat yacht club. And we were having a lunch over in Norfolk at a marina there. And I looked at the bar and there was this guy sitting there. Oh, and he went by the name of Nice Mike. Howdy told me this. He went by the name of Nice Mike. So I see this person sitting at the bar and I went, holy, is that Mike Dare? So I went up to the bartender who was acting like he was his best friend kind of thing. And I said, excuse me, could you tell me who that is sitting there? He said, oh, that's Nice Mike. I went, oh, God. So I went up and there was an empty bar stool next to him. And I said, hi, Mike Dare. And he looked at me like, who the hell are you? And I said, Andy Nash. Well, you never saw anybody almost fall off a bar stool as he did. Oh my God. You know, and all the bars and all the town, you know, it was like Casablanca without the romance, of course. So we had a big conversation. It was hilarious. It really was. And he came over to our table and da. And of course, thank God Ed had lived in Panama, so he understood all of this stuff. So anyway, so I saw Mike. And then at one point, I think I asked Howdy or somebody whatever happened to Mike. And he or somebody said that he, in one of these trips when he was moving a sailboat, and he may have been moving drugs at the same time. I don't know. Either he fell overboard or something, but he was gone. So, you know, these stories you come up with you mentioning Howdy Bailey, for crying out loud.
Well, was he the one that Ruby dated in Panama?
Well, he rode motorcycles. He was one of the guys with the T-shirt and the cigarette.
Right, yeah.
rolled
That
up.
was Michael LaCroix
Okay.
that was that
And
way.
Mike LaCroix, yeah.
You know, he settled near the airport in Chicago, and I saw him, and he had the same cigarettes in the rolled up T-shirt and so on. It was like a time, no
He
change.
told me he was involved in business with these sex clubs.
Right. He had about
Oh.
5 of them.
Yeah, right? Oh,
Yeah, he
God.
had 5 of
And
them.
he was proud as punch of that. And I'm like, oh, shit.
You know, I can remember one time it was lunchtime in the old Cristobal High School. And remember the sidewalk that went all the way around?
Yeah.
So I was walking with Ginny, was walking, and we were talking about one of the classes we were in. Well, the 4 guys from Gatun, what we always called the motorcycle gang, and Dare was in the middle of them, and they're walking straight towards us. And I naturally thought, well, I've got the girl next to me. They're going to get out of the way. We came face to face, and I said, are you going to get out of the way so we can get by? And Mike Dare walked up took his hand, and because I remember I used to have that pompadour haircut, it messed up my hair. And I don't know what he was thinking about, but I hit him so hard in the stomach, he fell over on the ground. He couldn't
Oh, no.
breathe. But you know that after that, we had the best relationship. Up until then, we wouldn't even talk to each other, but we had a good relationship the rest of high school.
Yeah.
He had a beautiful sister, older sister. I think her name was Diane. I don't know if anybody remembers her, but anyway. And I
I'm going to
think,
say goodbye.
are you going?
Yeah, dinner
Yeah.
needs fixing.
Okay, dear.
Okay. See you all soon.
Glad you made it in, and we'll fix that class list for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'll
See
talk
ya.
to that Ruth Ann.
I've got to run too. So see you
Yeah,
next
I
week.
gotta go too.
Good to
I
see
gotta
you
get
all.
the supper on.
Thanks a lot.
Love y'all.
We've still got time left if anybody wants to continue.
We
We've
eat
got
late.
till
Hey,
2:30.
Ruth Ann, I'd like to ask, doesn't this cost you any money or anything?
Oh, it's very minimal. It's
Yeah.
like $15 a month. It's not bad at all. So don't worry
Well,
about it at all.
We should all
And-
chip in something at the end.
Yeah, let us know. Let
Oh,
us
yeah.
know.
Well, if it gets prohibitive, and that's for up to 100 people. So I did want to ask, does anyone want to consider including the class of 61 or 59 in our Zoom meetings? Or do you want to just keep it exclusively to the class of 60?
I have
And
no
also-
problem with that, I
And
was
then
thinking
also,
because-
the second question is, would you like me to record our meetings? That means
don't
for
think that's
posterity, we would have our questions and stuff. Now, some people may like that, some people may not. So we'd have to think about that, maybe talk about it next time.
Okay, that's a good.
Not if we talk about sex clubs and running drugs.
You guys, I wanted to hear about Jules Damiani and Sarah Spector, because they were the really important in our class too. I thought, they were the
Right.
jokesters and the wittiest people. And
Right, right, right.
Well, I've got to go. I'll see y'all next week, maybe.
Hi, Judy.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye. Bye, Marion. Good to see you.
You too.
Oh, my big thing that I started this past week. I'm binging on The Sopranos.
You never watched it before?
No, bada bing.
Yeah, yeah,
Never did. That was in '99.
right.
What a bitch of a mother he had. My God.
I don't mind saying this. I've had Netflix for a few years and I never really watched it because I'm a sports and news guy, but then just the news got repetitive. It was only the numbers that were mattering. And I've seen House of Cards, The Crown.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, The Crown.
Well, Robin, this is on Prime. And,
Oh,
and,
okay.
and it was in '99. And the entrance music to it sounds, I think House of Cards kind of stole the type of theme background, but this ominous music was lifted, different melody from The Sopranos.
Well, I'm watching Billions now, and it's 5 seasons as far as I know, including this one. I don't know if there's more after this year. I haven't checked, but I've seen the first two seasons now, and it is very good.
What's
About
the
a
name of it?
stockbroker. Billions. It used to be on Showtime, starting in 2016, and now it's worked its way up to 2020, and I'm binging the first 5 seasons, at least the first 4 and some of the first. But it's Billions, and it's very good, and it's with Giamatti, Paul Giamatti.
Oh, I love him.
Who
Yeah.
is the Southern District, the New York Attorney General, or whatever he is.
Oh, cool.
Oh yeah, and he's after a lot of these guys and the stuff. Really, it's excellent. Now, I understand the Netflix in Latin America is somewhat different than the Netflix that you all have up there.
Yeah, it's in
there's some
Spanish. Maybe
no,
it's
no.
in
Well,
Spanish.
there's a little in Spanish, very little, but there's so much in
that's good.
English. But I've seen a good movie, Brooklyn, that was about the Irish and their move to Brooklyn
Yeah.
in the
I saw
20s
that.
and 30s. Oh, you saw it? Very good. Anyway, some Netflix people in the States can't pick it up there. But anyway, and the Guernsey Literary Potato Peel Pie Society, that was very good also. But I've seen some good movies, and I didn't know Netflix was as good as it is without paying any more than the monthly fee.
Yeah.
I just figured you had to pay for more quality, and you do. But I've enjoyed Netflix, and I'm pleasantly surprised, really. But so I binged 4 shows. Ozark is another one.
Oh, yeah, we watched all of that. Have you
Yeah.
not watched it, Ruth Ann?
I didn't like it. I watched the first season, but I've been binge watching Goliath, which is another attorney film or series. So I'm into the second season, and no, that's my entertainment. I have to wait till 4 o'clock before I can start watching movies. I have to be doing something else all the rest of the day.
I know.
Good. Yeah. Sure. Good.
Marion, are you guys getting any of those streaming services?
We get Netflix.
Okay. And we are still getting Netflix DVDs, the original.
Oh,
And I
yeah,
think you can still, I like that because you can get old movies, really older ones. And in fact, I had put in a request for The Mikado a long time ago. I don't know why. I forgot why. You remember that was a Gilbert and Sullivan play. And we recently they would put that down in a whole thing, like, we don't have it, but if we get it, we'll let you. And it was a 1930 something production, 1938, 39.
Wow.
It was weird, but I'm glad we watched it.
Yeah.
But, Andy, are you still, do you have everything bundled with your one carrier?
Yeah, Cox carries mine. We
Yeah.
don't have a smart TV, but what I got was I got a new DVD player, which was Bluetooth. And lo and behold, it had on it these other things. And I went,
Yeah.
oh, wow. And I already had Amazon Prime, and I was getting, and I had Netflix already. And it went quite a while before I realized, oh, I can go to, I get films on those.
Yeah, because
So-
you could even if you don't have a smart TV, if you can hook up a Roku stick to the
Yeah,
back of it.
I know.
Yeah, and then because we got totally off of Comcast except for the high speed internet,
Yeah.
and it's saving us almost $120 a month.
Right.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
good.
Consumer Reports has a whole thing on
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
that. Yeah. But we
Well, I cut the
bundle our
cord
phone. Pardon?
3 years ago. I said I cut the cord about 3 years ago, so I paid nothing for. I have an over-the-air antenna, which gets me basic channels, and then I have a smart TV which has Roku inside it, so I can actually get CBS News and anything by connecting that app through Roku, and then I can watch current news and events that day. I don't get to watch them live, but I figure I can wait an hour.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, see,
Well,
now,
we may look into it. We get our phone, we get the computer and the phone and the TV all together. So
we went to it's my YouTube, and it's a
And that's good.
and that one you can get all of them, but Ruth Ann, you can actually get that. I mean, you can see everything live on that one.
Yes, I use YouTube a lot because Roku I have a direct channel to to YouTube. And then I even have, so I can just pull it up and search for something I want to see. But it also has the ABC, NBC, and CBS and CNN and whatever else you want to watch as a app. So I can just click on that and I can watch the news that's been filmed that day, a video of what's happened that day.
You have to be so careful with YouTube because you can get addicted to it. I mean, there,
That I agree with.
you click on one thing and before long, you've been there for 4 hours
Yeah, you're right, Jim. That's
in Never
right.
Neverland.
There's so much, a lot of it is very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jim, are you binging on any shows?
Well, I'm trying to think of the one that we're watching right now. I watch them and half the time I can't tell you what the name of it is. I let Dale pick about. Every time we go on at night, she says, "Well, what do you want to watch?" And I say, "Let's watch Patton. No Way in Hell." She went in just to placate me, you know, when you put in all of the different TV shows, movies, she's got about 50 of them are wartime movies. But when we go scroll through them, we scroll through so fast, I wouldn't be able to tell you the titles.
Yeah, twice was enough for Patton.
Right.
There was a good wartime series on PBS, World on Fire. So check that one out, Jim. I think it just ended. So, you know, I don't know where you can go and watch that, but that was excellent too.
You know, I happened upon the PBS special 1918 about the pandemic, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to watch that. But I was just flipping channels this morning, and I hit it, and I thought, well, I'll watch a little bit.
That's not about the pandemic. That's about the war. A British officer, as I recall. We lost her.
Yeah. I got to go. We got company coming in a while, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
but
we got to sign off anyway.
company? You have company coming?
No, it's Dale's brother.
I'm shocked.
He lives next door to us.
Oh, all right.
His
All
wife
right.
up in
Family.
Rhode
Right. Hey,
Yeah, his
see you
wife's up in
guys
Rhode
next.
Island, so
see-
we feed him a couple times a week.
Living dangerously, right?
Right. Yeah.
Company.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you all
Okay.
next week, okay?
All right, good, Jim.
Okay, see you
All right,
then.
Andy, we'll be in touch. See you all
See you
next week.
guys.
All right,
Bye.
See
enjoyed
you,
it.
Marion.
All right.
You got to talk more next time, Marion.
I'm not as aggressive as I used to be. I can't think.
No, you were big on the volleyball court and the basketball court and all that. You know, I was not. Getting back
Tell
there,
them you
girl.
spend all your time on a walker.
What?
Tell them you spend all your time on a walker now.
I spend my time with my walker.
Aw. Well, I've had those a couple of times, and I use a cane periodically when I'm being very careful. So stick to it.
Well, I first got blood clots
Oh God.
and I had 2 PEs in my right lung and was very, very weak when I got out of the hospital, to say
I
the
can
least.
imagine. Yeah.
And I was in therapy for 4 months. And I got from a walker to a cane, and I was doing real good. Then I started falling. So they said, get a walker. So
And you
got
never
one.
smoked to have all this lung problem, did you?
No, but my mom did.
Yeah, but our houses, well, I don't know.
Secondhand
were pretty
smoke is
open.
bad.
Pardon?
Secondhand smoke is as bad as, not worse.
Well, I know,
smoking.
but and my father, it's hard to imagine him without a cigarette. But our home, at least where I lived, our homes were so open. We never had air conditioning in the living room, dining room, kitchen areas. So it wasn't like it lingered in the house. Now maybe your whole house was air conditioned where you lived in Margarita, but ours was
So
not.
we had the louvers in the windows you turn.
Yeah. But it's not like in the States, like in the wintertime or something, and
No.
you'd have all the windows closed.
Well,
then
when
your house-
Mom was in Florida, she had the windows closed.
Yeah.
Dad had to smoke on the outside porch, his cigars, but Mom would
Cigarette.
smoke her cigarettes all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we'd visit for 3 months, except when we go to the beach.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's you know, ignorance.
I smoked when I was 21
Oh,
because my grandmother told me when I was 21, if I hadn't smoked, she would give me $100. So I wrote her and asked for my $100. I never said that. So I smoked for about 2.5, 3 years. And
That's
then
not
it was
bad.
either smoke or buy food for the kids. So we bought food for the kids.
Yeah, well,
But
Good
it was,
choice.
I mainly smoked in the summer when we were playing softball. All the girls,
are you in an assisted living type of arrangement where you are?
no, we're in a 55 and older
Oh, okay, okay,
apartment complex.
okay,
We have
Is
a
there-
2-bedroom.
okay. And do you have like a central clubhouse or swimming pool and that kind of thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
we don't use it.
yeah.
Too hot to go in.
It's too hot in the summertime to go out. Dallas is cold in the winter and hot in the summer.
I don't think it got as hot in the Canal Zone. Now, the humidity was another story, but I don't think temperature-wise it ever got in the 100 degrees or anything, or high
No, it's
90s.
usually 89, 98, one of those.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, it was never too hot to go to the swimming pool.
No. See, I can talk one-on-one, but I don't know how to butt in on somebody.
Well, you just butt in. You hold up your hand and say, "Excuse me."
I did talk to Ellen. She gave us your guys' phone numbers for Tom
Okay,
to call.
good.
She can't come because her computer's going out.
You know, I recommended to her, I said, "Ellen, get a new computer."
She
And
said
get them-
I'm going to.
And she said she had problems hearing. And I said, well, I'm sure that you can get some sort of attachment, you know, to help you with the hearing on it, you know, just to go to Best Buy or whatever, you know, and talk to them, ask them, tell them what
We
you need.
always have people advertising on TV to come in for, we need 100 people to come test our hearing aids.
Yeah.
And if they work, they're
Well,
yours.
this might be something special for a computer, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. So, you know, you can get distortion and that kind of thing. You know, it's worth checking out. So,
But she's having trouble hearing.
yeah, I know she
Okay.
is. I thought she had a hearing aid, but maybe she doesn't. You know, she didn't really
She doesn't use them like I don't use them.
clarify. Oh, you have hearing aids?
Yeah, both Tom and I got them in Florida,
Oh, okay.
but I don't like wearing them because it's like from Sunday to Sunday and my battery's dead in a week's time.
Well, considering how well you're carrying on a conversation now, you know, your hearing loss is not that bad. Remember, I majored in speech and hearing, remember? And so I would have preferred to be an audiologist, you know, and test hearing, but marrying Ed, you know, you couldn't hope. It was just a whole different thing. It was easier to do speech therapy in the schools, in the elementary schools.
Yeah.
So, but I really enjoyed the other a lot better. So anyway, there's all kinds of new hearing aid gadgets out there now, and
Yeah.
not like my aunt who used her mother, you know, who now would be over 100 years old or more, who just took her mother's hearing aid and plunked it in and said, well, I have a hearing aid. Well, no, that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. So, but they are expensive as hell, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine were $4,000
That's what a killer.
a piece. And I lost one and had to
Oh,
buy
geez.
another one.
Oh my God.
So that's why they sit in there, because I know they're not lost.
Yeah. Well, you probably have trouble keying in on when everybody's yakking at the same time. Do you have trouble keying in on different people talking? When we're all talking?
Maurice.
Oh, you have trouble with Maurice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say his speech is a little distorted, coming through the way it does.
Yeah.
But it's a miracle. It's a miracle that we can see each other.
Oh, it's wonderful. I like to just sit and watch.
I think that's what Frank McLeod is doing.
Yeah.
I think he's there and he's just watching.
If Marion's not on at 1:45, next time somebody needs to call us.
Well, you know what? I looked through her list to whom she sent it, and I don't know if she made up her own list of names or not, but your name was not in there. So I'm going to call Ruth Ann.
We haven't gotten anything on email.
Right. Well, I looked through that list because I was thinking, well, maybe when she was keying it in, that she, had a finger mess up and put in a wrong number or something. What is your email? Let me write it down. What's your email?
TOM,
What?
little letters.
Yeah.
Tom and Will,
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Okay.
528
Okay.
@gmail.com.
Okay. What's the 528?
Our wedding, May
Aw.
28th.
Aw.
Oh,
Well, that's coming up next week.
yep.
My oldest son and his wife, May 15th, and they just had their 27th anniversary. So that was fun. Okay, I will take care of that and let her know. I didn't want to say that, while everybody, and embarrass her or anything, but I noticed that was not in there.
Well, why
And there's
didn't
a
you
couple
go
of
through-
names I don't recognize, which is weird. Merrill something or other, but anyway. And Darian's is not in there either. So she needs to add those in. And
Was that Darian?
Darian was not in it either. Yeah.
No, was that her that was on there today?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't read the name.
Oh, yeah. That was Darian with kind of the hair coming out like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That was Darian. Okay. All righty. Well, nature, I have a call of nature.
Yes. Don't we all?
Yeah. Wonderful seeing you.
I have an hour time, period.
Okay.
Good seeing you.
See you next week for sure.
Yes.
Bye-bye, dear.
Bye-bye.